Since the initiation of economic reforms in 1979, China has become one of the world's fastest growing economies. During 1979-2005, China's real GDP grew at an average annual rate of 9.6%. Particularly, China's GDP expanded 11.4% in 2007. In 4 recent years, from 2008 to 2011, to keep a sustainable development, the country has maintained its GDP growth at an average rate of 10% per year. Since the end of 2010, China overtook Japan as the world's second largest economy after the US. The country is now also the biggest exporter and the second biggest importer in the world. Along with the economic growth, China is expanding its military power by increasing significantly the national defense budget in some recent years. If in 2001, China's publicly acknowledged military spending was $17 billion, 2009, its budget grew up to over $70 billion. In 2011, China intends to spend $91.5 billion on the People's Liberation Army, Navy, and Air Force. According to Non-Proliferation for Global Security Foundation, the country has recently ranked at the second position in the top 10 military spenders. From that, China can be seen as the neo-realism follower. It has developed offensive military capabilities as a means to increase their relative power.
With the power in economy and military, China wants to expand further its influence in the world. The South China Sea has recently become the troubled waters, involving the great concerns of China and other Southeast Asian countries, because the South China Sea is considered as the world's second busiest international sea lane and one of the richest oil and gas resources. Therefore, from China's perspective, controlling the South China Sea is the core interest to strengthen economic influence in Asia-Pacific and to show up its military power. Typically, China has increased its exercises over the South China Sea. With respect to sovereignty and legality, China's self-interest can be easily seen from its argument. China has presented a U-shaped line which encircles most of the South China Sea. By this evidence, the Chinese government naturally considers the entire South China Sea as its own territory, dismissing the claims from Southeast Asian countries. With the sovereignty in the South China Sea that China argues, its action has characteristics of neo-realism. On one hand, it puts pressure on regional countries not to explore oil or fishing in the South China Sea. On the other hand, it intends to bring oil and gas drilling into operation at the end of July 2011. Moreover, China has planned to invest $31 billion to drill 800 wells underneath the sea in 2020. Clearly, China has recognized the natural resources in the South China Sea as a factor to gain its economic interest and develop its national economy in the future. In terms of military action, China considers the South China Sea as a vital square in its geopolitical chessboard. Recently, China military has carried on a large-scale naval exercise using real weapons in the sea and is building an ocean fleet to project power beyond its border. Aggressively, Chinese vessels even shot and killed Vietnamese fishermen, captured or seized Vietnamese fishing boats. It also confronted and harassed with US ships and aircrafts over the South China Sea many times.
Adding China's rising power, there seems to be comparative declining power of the long-standing superpower like the United States. The explosive growth of China with other major powers in Asia has led to a transition from global economy dominated by Europe and the US to one dominated by Asian countries. In China's case, Beijing appears to be not only rising but rising fast and pose a great potential threat to Western countries, especially to US #1 position. Undoubtedly, the world now is shifting into a multipolar era. The balance of power now has been shifting to China. Balance of power, to be mentioned, is a state of stability between competing forces, in this case between US and China. With the emerging of China in economy and military, it seems that the credibility and influence of US in Asian region has been relatively declined. In economy, China now is the largest holder of U.S. debt. In January 2010, U.S. debt was over $900 billion. Plus, China export products have also spread over U.S. market. The amount of products imported from China in U.S. is approximately $344.1 billion. In military, China's growing military has posed a great concern to US, so US still outnumber China in hard power usage. From those aspects, the implication of China's rising power over US can be seen in US declining status in balance of power.